Castlevania is a game series revered like few before it in gaming. With releases spanning the 4 decades since its first release in 1986 on the NES, to the most recent Lords of Shadow entries, the series has always been counted on to evolve and set the benchmark for similar titles in the genre. Symphony of the Night was released on March 20th, 1997 in Japan, and in the fall of 1997 for Europe and North America. With those in the industry translating their franchises into the 3D world, the game was given little attention outside of Japan and failed to ignite interest in the American market. However, Castlevania Symphony of the Night has gone on to achieve cult status over the years and is often revered as one of the greatest games ever made. With its comparisons to Super Metroid, it in part defined a whole genre. Games of this type became known as Metroidvania style games. Its impact cannot be understated. The game's opening chapter is dedicated to retelling the ending to the series' previous entry, Rondo of Blood, which sees the player take control of Richter Belmont on his journey to defeat Dracula. The controls for this segment retain the classic Castlevania feel and the graphical overhaul from the original game. It immerses the player in this epic story, without the need of too much heavy exposition. In the final battle against the Count, we are treated to one of the most meme-worthy and instantly quotable exchanges in gaming history.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets! But enough talk! How about you?
Symphony of the Night is set 4 years after Dracula's defeat in the prologue and centres around the son of Dracula, Alucard, as he sets off to put an end to his father's tyrannical reign once and for all. The game's opening minutes give the player just a small taste of Alucard's power, with enemies falling to you without much fight at all. This small taste only lasts mere minutes though, as death is waiting to humble our hero, removing your weapons and powers and unceremoniously sending you back to level 1. In these early stages you are vulnerable to death, and there are some enemies that can deal out the hurt to you. Without weapons or armour, Alucard only has his bare hands to dispatch enemies with. Often weapons are hidden behind secret breakable walls or branching paths and can take the edge off some of the game's more trickier segments and bosses. Weapons come in the form of short swords, staffs, two-handed longswords and even one-off projectiles. Boosts to defense and buffers to your base stats can be gained by equipping armour and clothing items. Certain armour sets and clothing found across the map can also give you access to previously inaccessible areas. The Spike Breaker, as the name suggests, allows the player to walk over harmful areas impervious to damage. Not only is this rewarding, but it prompts you to look further down every nook and cranny to find the game's many hidden items. Progression also hinges on finding many of the game's hidden power-ups. Vital life vials are dropped by bosses which boost HP. Scattered around the map are heart containers which boost the player's heart count, a valuable resource that allows Alucard to use his set of sub-weapons, such as throwing holy water, stopping time, and throwing axes. Relics provide the player with extra perks, such as invincibility to water damage, and the ability to morph into the form of a bat, wolf, or mist. Familiars also make their debut in the series. The demon can be summoned to open up new areas by pressing out of reach buttons. The fairy heals and buffs Alucard and can also give hints to hidden doors. The ghost casts magic and has healing attacks. The bat charges at enemies dealing damage. And finally, the sword familiar uses a spinning attack that can deal multiples of damage. At higher levels, it even becomes a weapon the player can use. The variety of power-ups and familiars available to you give the player massive scope to change up playstyles and strategies when a tricky enemy or boss battle arises. Symphony of the Night borrows from traditional RPG leveling systems and adds it to that classic Castlevania formula. Each level gained boosts stats through experience points achieved by defeating enemies. As previously mentioned, weapons and armors boost their stats or give protections against elemental types, meaning you can always rearrange your equipment to your advantage. Familiars also progress through their own level system, but only when individually summoned. Although the whole level up system is quite basic when compared to traditional RPGs from the era, there is elegance in its simplicity. It complements the hack and slash elements of the gameplay and doesn't get you too bogged down in endless menus and customization options, meaning you can chop and change with relative ease and efficiency. Unlike previous entries, Castle Dracula is non-linear and the main bulk of it can be accessed from the start. Save points can be quite rare in parts of the castle, but are spread out enough not to be a huge issue to overcome. When discovered, warp rooms unlock fast travel to 6 points around the map, making travel a little less tedious. This is especially helpful when trying to get to certain sections of the castle on the other side of the map. The castle itself is divided into several distinct areas such as the library or the Colosseum. Each of these areas feel varied and distinct and always have something new to show you. Bosses are a regular and often challenging highlight, offering a cast of interesting and stunning character models, some of which leave you in awe of the design team's level of detail. Several bosses challenge the player to seek out new strategies. One of the highlights is a battle with Grantfaloon, a creature that surrounds itself in a ball of zombified bodies that fall to the ground and attack you as soon as you try to fight it. It's a spectacular display that makes moments like this feel like an epic battle you have to win. Unfortunately, several bosses fail to provide a challenge, with some displaying simple attack patterns and others that can be defeated almost instantly. Only a minor blemish in a roster of fantastic looking creatures. Gaining possession of a few items later in the game allows you to unlock the Inverted Castle, a secret area where the entire castle has been flipped upside down, effectively doubling the map size. The Inverted Castle provides new bosses, stronger enemy types, and multiple new endings depending on what platform you are playing on. Whether it's a different take on how you've approached the game for the first time, or maybe even something you've never even seen before, the replayability on offer here draws you back in time and time again. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is without a doubt one of the greatest games ever developed. Its enduring legacy is a testament to the dedication and craftsmanship the team at Konami employed in its creation and its execution. Gameplay, level design and story marry old with new, in its time creating an entirely new genre. A genre which today has seen a revival in the current indie gaming space. For a game now 2 decades old, it stands tall even by today's standards and is an essential purchase for fans of the series and newcomers alike. Its imminent re-release on PS4 as a part of Castlevania Requiem, due late October 2018, means this symphony is to be played for some time yet to come.